Welcome to Power Greater Than You, a podcast about recovery, hope, and transformation. Hosted by JD and Sean, we dive into life-changing stories, spiritual growth, and the journey beyond addiction, because the power to change is greater than you. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Ep.1 of Power Greater Than You. My name's Sean Mobley.
Hey, and I'm JD. Great to be here.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing all right. We kind of talked about doing this way back when.
Oh, yeah, man. It was probably like a year and a half?
Yeah. You know, that whole sobriety journey, it's it's brought us right here to this very moment, which I think is pretty cool.
Absolutely. And you used to dip and dabble in the podcast world back in the day, didn't you?
Nah. It's a home shopping network host. So, I'm sure you probably never saw it. You weren't even born when I was doing that.
No, probably not.
So,
where do we start?
Well, I mean, the name of the podcast is A Power Greater Than You, right?
Yeah.
And so I know when we talked about it, I think you actually came up with the name.
We were sitting right there.
I got to give you the credit. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it, but I think you sparked it. I don't know what we were talking about, just having a little sponsor-sponsee conversation, and you said Power Greater Than You. I'm like, I think that's it.
Well, I love it because that's the solution.
Yeah. Power Greater Than You, right? I think we should maybe start with us a little bit first, right? To kind of lead into how we got there. So I guess, why don't you start, and I guess,
All right.
Take me back.
Okay, way back when. Well, first of all, I'm an old guy. They talk about old timers in these recovery rooms and these 12-step rooms, but I'm just basically an old guy. And I didn't start, I'm 61. I didn't even think that I had a problem with alcohol or drugs, alcoholic drug addict. I think I was out there drinking and drugging for 40 years, almost 40 years. Never had, not me, I don't have a problem. Yeah. Maybe you have a problem, I don't have a problem. Mm-mm. And so, yeah, when I was 53, the world just came crashing down, and when it did, first of all, that's this whole Power Greater Than You thing. I always thought I could control it. I always thought I didn't have a problem. You had the problem. I always thought that it was easily fixed. This is a willpower thing. Mm-hmm. And, man, when I was broken, when I came to on Good Friday and said, I gotta get help. I called my insurance company, and I was living in New York City. I'm like, hey man, can I go anywhere to rehab and to treatment? And they ran my insurance. Like, yeah, you can go anywhere. So, of course, I picked. Gonna make it like a getaway, a vacation into recovery. Because at this point, I didn't even think I really had a problem, except maybe it was it was time. So I called Malibu, of course, and Sedona, Arizona, and yeah, man, it was like, oh, okay, I'm getting away.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a plan that I didn't even know was about to unfold. That was my first step into sobriety. I got sober in California and LA, and so that's kind of the beginning. What about for you? What did it look like for you?
Yeah, I guess let me reintroduce myself. My name's Sean. I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, I love cocaine. Cocaine was my drug of choice, as you know, but I don't think the people know. Yeah, for me, I was a ball player. Played a little college basketball and rode that identity, and it translated into the bars and the.
You kind of downplayed it. You were more than a basketball player.
I was pretty good.
You were playing in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, I was a 4-star ESPN recruit.
Yeah,
Division I athlete. I did graduate, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was playing basketball, and that was my identity. That's all I knew who I was. It was Sean, the basketball player, and then jumped into the bars a little bit in the frat houses, and I liked that identity, that person I became when I was drinking and drugging.
Yeah.
And so that became my new identity. It was Sean, the partier / basketball player. And then one day, like halfway through my senior year, man, I was doing a lot of cocaine and started tripping. Like, I didn't think I had a problem either yet, though, you know.
Yeah,
but
of course not. We never
I'm
do.
thinking things. I'm like, oh, you know, I was dating a girl at the time. I'm like, she's doing this, and I'm making up all these stories in my head. And, you know, now I'm just talking to myself all day. I quit basketball for the first time.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you quit doing cocaine.
No, hell no. No. That was the
You
last
quit
thing.
basketball.
Yeah,
like, you
that
know,
was the last
thing you're really good at.
The last thing to go is
That
cocaine.
makes sense. I get it.
Yeah, and you know, I took off, blew through 40 grand in a couple months, jumping motel to motel, hallucinating hard, marking up walls, you know, living off 7-Eleven pizza and
Doesn't
lemonade.
sound like fun, man.
No, but I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
You know, the power greater than you thing, I didn't know at the time, you know, I grew up in a religious family. At the time, I didn't know what I was praying to when I was in addiction, but I was definitely talking to something.
Right.
And then eventually one day, man, I blew through all the money. My transmission blew on my truck. And so I came home. I just fought it. I got clean for like a week and a half.
So you put on your like, hey, I'm Sean back from school. Everything's fine face?
Oh, everything's great. I mean, I had quit basketball at that point. School was gone. I kind of came home, and I think my family was just thankful to see me. Then I picked it all back up again, man. And then one day I was just on my parents' kitchen floor. I couldn't sleep, couldn't do nothing. I just bawling my eyes out. They went to dinner. Just sitting on the kitchen floor, just bawling my eyes out, like I have to go get help.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like, and I don't know what came over me that day or why I was in that scenario, but something came over me, man, and I went to rehab, and like, thankfully, you know, I'm no saint and I'm not safe either, right? But I never really had the desire to pick up a drink again. Like, I knew my time was done. I knew it was over. So
That's beautiful, man. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about the people that are listening here, but, you know, and I'm sure that if I'm in full addiction, I'm like, I don't have a problem either. But, you know, I think I talked about it a little earlier about this whole willpower thing. It's not a willpower thing. I mean, people think, hey, JD, you're weak, man. You know, you could quit, you can stop, but you're not. Like, so, you know, this whole power greater than myself was like, it was a big relief, you know. But until I said I had a problem, like, the first step is like, I admitted I'm powerless over alcohol and drugs, and my life had become unmanageable. Like, unmanageable looked like normal to me.
right.
You know, I don't know about you, but it was, you know.
And it's crazy because I didn't, literally being hammered till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and waking up at 7 o'clock to go to practice. I'm fine. I play better when I'm high. You know, I smoke a little weed before practice. I play better when I'm high. You
Baller.
know?
I think you said you're a baller, right?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, but it's just crazy things like that. And, you know, I heard one time in rehab, somebody said, you know, if you think about it, I was really functioning at like 30% max.
Right.
Could you imagine if
Thinking you were king of the world.
Could you imagine if we gave 100% like we did to the drinking and drugging to life back in the day?
Yeah, no, I couldn't. As a matter of fact, I didn't know there was another life out there. I mean, and the sober life is, you know, we're going to get into it on future episodes, but man, there's like, I thought, well, I'm doomed now. What now? I'm never going to drink. I'm never going to have a drug again. And, you know, like you, I mean, my drug of choice was all of the above, you know, so whatever could change the way I'm feeling, which I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. Like, I don't like how I'm feeling, so I'll do a shot of this or you know, head to CVS and grab some pills to change the way I'm feeling. And really, I mean, this whole step one that I'm powerless over these addictions, really, you know, it said we admitted, and it's like I reluctantly agreed that, okay, I think I have a problem.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when I said, hey, I'm an alcoholic, a drug addict, and it was in treatment, and I said, I think I have a problem, right? Because here's the thing, I didn't know there was a solution.
Right.
I thought the problem were drugs and alcohol. The problem is me.
I'm pointing at you. I need to be pointing at myself.
The problem is me, right?
Problem is me.
And so, even now, because, you know, and what do I mean by it's me? Well, I didn't connect in the world. I mean, I was just, I mean, the best place to drink and do drugs is to isolate, right?
Right.
And, you know, so I was not connected with anybody. You know, I have 3 beautiful kids, and they'd be in the next room, and I'd feel all alone. Like, that's what the disease, and it is a disease, and we'll get into that on another episode. But I mean, this is like a disease. This is like having cancer.
Yeah.
Okay. Everybody, and I have close family members and lots of friends that have gone through cancer, and it's horrible. But there's compassion and empathy, and people are there for you. Where in addiction, it's like, when are you going to grow up, JD? Like, you're 50 something. When are you going to stop?
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm sure you told yourself. I mean, I know I told myself that thousands of times, right? Sean, when are you going to grow up? When are you going to get your shit together? And it's like, no, I'm going to go back to the bar tonight. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Repeat cycle. And I think that this is a good topic to get in before we talk about, you know, solution and realizing that the problem was me. I think it's a good topic to talk about, you know, why we drank and drugged in the first place, right? Like, for me, I didn't like the way I felt. I was always that loner. I was always worried about how people felt and thought about me. I mean, even still to this day, I still have a little bit of that, right? And I drank and drugged because I liked the person I became better. I felt like I looked better. I was more confident. I could dance better. I could talk to girls better. I could do everything better, you know?
I felt the same way, except for the dancing part.
You weren't a dancer?
Hell no.
No? You got the look, man.
I have no rhythm. So no, and dancing was not one of the things that I thought I was better at.
Yeah.
But I feel you. I'm right there.
I mean, some of your symptoms, I guess, you know, why did you drink and drug?
I mean, I just thought it was to have fun. I didn't even know it was to, like, numb out or to, you know, I just thought everybody felt like me. Mm-hmm. You know, and I wasn't walking around thinking I was, you know, in depression or what's wrong with me. It's just like, it was part of my DNA. Drugs and alcohol were part of my DNA. And so the more I did, the less it worked for me, right?
Yeah.
You know, and we'll get into it too. I mean, I had prescriptions of, you know, Adderall, which I took for 27 years. Like, before Adderall, there was Ritalin and Dexedrine, and, you know, it's amphetamine, and it was, so, you know, I have dyslexia and I have ADD, so that was a really good reason to take it. Mm-hmm. But it would say take 1 or 2 a day, and I would take 1 or 2 every couple hours, you know, in the end. So it was always about abuse, right? Yeah. But
abusive fun.
Abusive fun, yeah.
Abusive fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for me too, you know, it was trying to have fun, and then I guess progressing, right? I don't really remember like the exact time, you know, because I would always just try to chase that feeling, that high. I want to have fun. I want to do all these things around. I don't really remember what day it was or what happened when I did the same thing. I drank and I drugged, and instead of having fun and these inner problems coming out, it then turned to, I'm drinking and drugging, and now, like, the problems just got worse on the inside, right? Mm-hmm. And then that Sean persona that I was putting on was no longer there. Yeah. And then for me, that was the day that I believe, I don't remember what day it was, but that's when you start going downhill. And there's never reaching that fun again. For me, I feel there's never putting myself out there again. It was all, I'm trying to chase this high, now it's just getting worse on the inside. It's getting worse on the inside. Yeah. I'm constantly stuffing. I don't remember what day it was or what happened, but just the decline, and it always got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Like, I think, like, the opposite of addiction is community. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, you know, here we are together, and, you know, we're keeping each other sober. It's a beautiful thing. Absolutely. I can't do it on my own. I need a power greater than myself.
Absolutely.
You know, but I think what's important to know is that, you know, as I started to, well, I guess before my bottom, like, I hated myself. Everybody would be like, JD, you're the greatest. And I would walk around and just hated myself. Self-destructive behavior. And, you know, the reason for it, and then what happens, I don't know about you, when I started using and drinking, well, I did it for, like I said, 40 years, but I came to a place of indifference. Didn't care if I lived or died. You know, it's just like, how many are you gonna give me? 2? I need 4. What is it? I don't care. It will get me high.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I don't know how deep we want to get right now, but I mean, there was times where I was just driving. You know what I mean? And I'd be like,
on Route 4.
I don't one of these back Florida roads.
That's in Florida, man. It's on the way to Disney.
Yeah. Just if a deer jumped out and it ended, I'd be okay. Like, damn, I'm driving. That tree looks good.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep we want to get, but it definitely got suicidal there for a second.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
More than a second, but yeah.
Yeah, it's part of the disease, man. It's part of the whole thing. But you would think at that point you're like, I need help. But I'm sure you didn't go, okay,
no,
I need help now.
Hell no.
No, you gotta push the envelope and just go deeper and deeper. And I didn't even realize I was going deeper and deeper.
Yeah. Do you remember when that moment was when you were like, I need help? I think you mentioned a day earlier. It was on.
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I was unconscious for almost 24 hours. So it was like, and really, I mean, it was bad news because, I was living in New York City, but I had a condo in Connecticut. And so I thought the best way to protect me from me, and that's what I say now in this program, it's like, it's not the drugs and the alcohol. I need to protect me from myself.
Right.
Would be to leave the Adderall, to leave everything in New York City. And, I mean, it was crazy. Like, I lived in this condo, and like we talk about how that self-destructive behavior, like there was no heat in the condo. And this was like in January, February, March. It was a duplex, so it actually could stay at like about 38, 40 degrees, and so pretty much you come over and like we'd have a conversation and smoke. You could see your breath. And I just remember that I got home on a Tuesday and I'm like, I had these Xanax. I had like 60 Xanax. And for me, I was always an upper guy. Mm-hmm. Like, I want, like you said, you love cocaine. Yeah, man, whatever's going to get me, going.
Right.
And so I had these Xanax and I get a lot of people take them, and you should take them if you have anxiety, if you're not an addict or a drug addict, but they are very addictive. And so I was just, I was bored, so I took a couple more. I had 60. Then I Googled, like, can I overdose on Xanax? And they said, you really can't unless alcohol, and I actually had a bottle of champagne I was saving for a special occasion, so I slammed that. And I ended up, the final count after like 36 hours, I think 53 Xanax. There was 7 left in the bottle.
Shit.
And so what happened was my son, who lived a couple doors down, first I had a good friend come over and do like a safety check. They're like, JD's not doing too well. And I just like, what are you doing here? You need to leave. Why are you here? And he's like, there's a knife in the wall. I'm like, don't worry about the knife in the wall. I mean, I smashed my iPad. I was losing it.
Yeah.
And then, my son did a safety check. And if you don't know what a safety check is, if you have somebody that's struggling and you think right now that they could be harm to themselves or to somebody else, you can call the police. The police will go to wherever you are, whoever they are, and see if in fact they're okay. They're not going to hurt themselves. So the police showed up. And so now, because I'm a, professional alcoholic drug addict, like you earlier were saying, like I put on the face and I am out of my mind. And I convinced them that I'm okay. Mm-hmm. And they said, all right. And literally I closed the door and I woke up 23 hours later. I literally leaned against the door because I'm like, they're going to come back. And so I know you asked that question. It seemed like should have been a short answer.
No, I love it.
But so then I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm going to die.
Yeah.
So I might as well at least try to live.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody dies, but not everybody lives. Definitely when you're an alcoholic or drug addict.
Right. I mean, it's really crazy to think, right, that we used to do this shit. And there are people that are going through this right now. There's somebody leaned up against a condo door.
Oh, yeah.
50 Xanax right now. Yeah. It's wild to think. I guess for me, one of the spiritual awakenings I'll talk about, guess you call it spiritual awakening. Coming towards the end of my addiction, I could feel it, you know, like
Yep.
it was in St. Augustine. St. Augustine holds a special place in my heart. And two things happened in St. Augustine. The first was I was checking into this motel because I was bouncing around. I just kept bouncing, thinking police are following me, my family's following me, all type of crazy shit, right? So I ended up in St. Augustine at this motel, and I get there early, and like, you know, check-in's at 3, and I'm there at, 10 o'clock in the morning. I don't think I slept that night. It was Mother's Day.
Wow.
Yeah, I was, and they had like a little flower bed, and I was picking flowers, like, talking to my mom and all this stuff. And this lady and her boys, it was a mom and 3 boys, checking out of the motel. And she could see I was struggling. And I'm like, at this point, I'm now at the front hostess, and I was like, hey, can I get in early? I just need to like lay down, and she comes in with the boys, and she comes and gives me a hug, says, I don't know if she said, is God with you? I don't think she did, but it felt like it. And then the son had a wristband, a suicide prevention wristband that he gave to me.
Wow.
Very spiritual moment on Mother's Day. My mom, it's me, my brother, and my chosen child brother,
Yes.
So it was just like one of those moments that was very, like, wow. And the second moment, I was about to leave St. Augustine. Now my transmission had blew.
Right.
I get to this car shop, and they're working on my car, and they're like, go to AutoZone, get some transmission fluid to try to seal it. I don't know how cars work and all that stuff. So I go to this AutoZone, I put the transmission fluid in, and I'm waiting, and there's like a little canal, and I go fishing for like the first time in months. I love to fish. I'm fishing. I had caught this snook. And it was like the first moment in my life where I felt like, not in my life, but first moment in addiction where I had felt like a little bit of like sincere joy. You know what I mean? And I feel like if that didn't happen, I would have still been out running. I feel like I probably would have OD'd.
Yeah.
Like that fish, I swear, saved my life.
Yeah. You're following the signs, right? That's what there's, higher power, has been around the whole time I was in addiction, and it's just this power that is greater than me. Like, power means like to have influence over something or someone. So a power greater than me is influencing me to stay sober.
Absolutely.
And that's just not me. Like I said, I was out there. I don't know why, but I just listened to what people said. Like, okay, you got a problem? Go to treatment. Go to sober living. We'll talk about all that
Yeah,
stuff.
we'll get into all of that.
But now, drugs and alcohol, the only time I think about them is like if we're talking about it.
Yeah. You know what's even crazier? To finish that story, my buddy's bachelor party, I think I told you this, was last year, and we were supposed to go to Tampa, and the hurricanes hit.
Right.
So we went to St. Augustine after. And I leave Sunday morning, I'm going back. We were there for all weekend. And I'm like, hey, let me go try to fish that spot again, right? So I turn down the street, and I'm at the stop sign. I'm about to take a right to park. And literally in front of me, it's Sunday morning, like 10 o'clock. There's a bunch of people outside smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee.
Right.
And I'm like, there's no way, right? So I get in the little chair app, I check it out, and sure enough, it's a 12-step meeting.
Yeah, you can always kind of spot them, right? There's coffee and cigarettes.
It's 10 o'clock in the morning, coffee, maybe a church, but cigarettes and coffee, gotta be a clubhouse.
You're like me. It would be coffee, cigarettes, or cigars.
Yeah, a couple of cigars, absolutely. But it was crazy. It was 9:55 in the morning. Meetings at 10 o'clock. I literally turned the corner, park, and it was just insane to me. And literally, I went fishing after and caught a baby snook. Just a crazy experience, like one of those moments where it's just like, man, maybe I'm on the right path.
Something's talking to you.
Something's talking to me. It ain't my path.
Yeah.
So, I love what you were talking about earlier too, like taking other people's suggestions now, like my will got me into rehab. My will burned every single bridge. My will, I'm in a motel snorting cocaine till 3, 4 in the morning, maybe sleeping, maybe not.
Probably not.
No, I was up for 3, 4 days at a time. I couldn't even look anybody in their eye. You know what I mean? Like the gas station clerk. Mm-hmm. Like I'm like trying to get my credit card in the thing.
Yeah. It's brutal, man. I feel it.
Yeah, and then now today, it's we're where I don't listen. I mean, I just listen to other people. I listen to you. You know, we go to meetings, you know, Sean. But when I was in rehab, did the 37 days and at the end of rehab, now they want to throw out sober living. You know what I mean? Now they want to throw out PHP and all this. I'm like, dude, I already just did my 37 days like we agreed upon. You know, let me get the hell out of here.
Didn't you say you want to stop? You want to stop running the show?
Stop running the show. And so, you know, at that moment, you know, to stay on step
like
one.
You were running the show at 37 days.
At 37, I was, you know, I fought it, and eventually I gave in. I'm like, you know, whatever y'all want me to do, I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good life lesson.
And I get it, you know, ego's like, hey, you can't talk. I mean, listen, I went to sober living. I went 30 days in Van Nuys, California. And then I went to sober living where I was, like I said, I was 53, 11 other guys. And their ages were like 18. I think the oldest was 32, and then me.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, what's going on here? But it was great. It was a great experience, you know. I find that, you know, in addiction, people in recovery, like, we're all in this war together.
Right.
It's crazy. Like, I would never want to help anybody when I was drinking and drugging. It was all about me.
Right.
You know, I want more. Everything that I wanted was outside of me. I wanted the material things. I wanted and I wanted it all, and I never had enough.
Yeah.
Never had enough.
Sick.
You know, and I found, like, working the steps in sobriety, like, everything I need, I already have.
Yeah.
But sometimes I need someone like you, or, you know, somebody else in recovery to say, hey man, it's going to be okay. Because, you know, we don't asking for help is like, I'd rather cut my arm off than ask for help.
Literally.
You know, until I got here, until I came to recovery, then it's.
Yeah. Well, I think we just put about 100 episodes worth of topics.
Yeah.
But to continue on, you know, I guess community and our relationship and asking for help. Why don't we talk a little bit about our relationship? And I think it's unique, especially for something like this. You're my sponsor.
I am. And you're my sponsee.
I am.
It's like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah. Why don't you tell them the story about how I'm your favorite sponsee?
And, you know, you are near and dear to my heart. But, you know, it's like kids. You're not supposed to say you got a favorite.
Yeah, that's fine.
Kid, but you know who you are. Yeah. No, I saw you. You know, I think you actually, another guy I sponsored was sponsoring you, and we did things like, you know, there's cool things to do in recovery. Where there was a golf tournament, sobriety golf tournament. I think it was called First Steps in Recovery, and they help get people into sober living, pay for their first month if they're down and out. And
that's awesome.
So so you were golfing,
yeah, and
then I think I'd see every once in a while, and I had heard you stopped, like, calling, you know, your sponsor, and you know, I'd see you in meetings every once in a while, and I think I'd be like, hey man, you got a sponsor? You know, and here's the thing, like, a sponsor is just anybody that's gone through the 12 steps of recovery, and then they're just, like, you know, like I said before, you know, they're taking you through their journey. They're sharing their experience, their strength, and their hope. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I saw you as a guy that didn't have a sponsor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, Sean's a pretty cool guy, and you know, I sponsor all my guys differently, and you definitely needed the TLC, man. You know,
absolutely.
I mean, maybe you can talk about how it was different from your first sponsor to.
Yeah, I had, you know, it's funny because I had a couple sponsors before. Are we allowed to say names?
Yeah, you could say somebody's name.
Matt.
First.
So Matt, yeah, you're sponsor, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Matt will have you on the show eventually. I had a couple sponsors before that. I don't know if they have nicknames for these type of people, but I would get through the first 3 steps, and when it was time to do the 4th step, I was gone.
Yeah.
I did not want to look myself in the face. I didn't want to do the work. So I was one of those sponsees. I would go ghost when it was time for the 4th step. 4th step, ghoster. I don't know. We'll come up with the nickname for it.
Yeah.
And I ended up at a men's black belt meeting. which
Black belt, what do they do? Karate there?
it's something like that. They get on you and they hold you accountable. It does get a little. We'll leave it at that. We'll chop that out, I guess. We'll leave
No,
it.
you don't have to chop it out, man.
Okay,
it's all about commitment.
Yeah.
And, hey, it says basically in any sobriety book I've read that alcoholics and drug addicts are undisciplined, and I definitely am undisciplined, and I need to be accountable because I can come up with 1,000 reasons why not.
Mm-hmm. That was the first meeting someone actually called me out of my bullshit.
Yeah, that's why you didn't like the meeting.
No, I wasn't mad at it. It ran a little long, and I got tired of hearing about wives and kids. But yeah, I was looking for a sponsor, and it was funny. In my head, it was between Matt and you, right? And so I think I came up to you after the meeting first. And you're like, hey, well, this is my sponsee, Matt, right here. Why don't y'all two work together? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, so me and Matt started working together. I got to 4-step and ghosted him. But probably a couple months later, I didn't have a sponsee. I was kind of just going to meetings, winging the program.
Yeah, I think I would check in every once in a while.
Yeah, I would see you around here and there, and we were at
that's what we do. We check in, hey, man, how's it going? Good to see you. What's happening? You going through something,
Yeah, that's what I love about meetings, too. It's like you can be going through your day, and we do go back to isolation, you know what I mean?
I do.
Every day, and so it's nice to go see people, and, people give you hugs, and people shake your hand, how you doing, and, just have a conversation. But, yeah, you were in the back of the room, and you say, man, you got a sponsor after the meal. You got a sponsor? Did you get a sponsor yet? And I was like, no. You're like, I'm your sponsor.
I really said that?
Yeah, we were in the back of Yana in the church pews. You were in the church pew. I sit in my same spot I've sat in.
I haven't said that to too many people. I'm glad that I said that.
Me too.
I usually say, like, when you're looking to get a sponsor, because it's very, it's a humbling experience. And I'll always tell the guys, or people in recovery in these meetings, it's like asking the girl to the prom, like,
Right.
I remember I was terrified.
I was so scared.
Oh,
yeah.
Come on, you must have had like 5 different girls you could have gone to the prom with.
I probably could. I never went to a prom, actually.
Oh, okay.
No, but yes.
See that? See that? Yeah, so, that's what it was. It was like, there's a little humility in asking somebody. And even when I asked my sponsor, like I talked to him for an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do you think maybe, would you have enough time would you be my sponsor?
Yeah.
It's like, you could have saved me an hour and just asked me in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, I guess that was kind of our journey,
Us
right?
in a nutshell. We both love cigars.
We both love cigars.
Well,
hey, what about the fact we both love cigars, but when he first started smoking cigars, he was
don't tell the people it is.
Cherry cigars.
Nah, no cherry. I was smoking tobacco, cafe
like,
con leche.
They were like, coffee cigars.
I did.
So we've come a long way.
We've come a very long way.
In lots of aspects. So yeah.
Absolutely. Stay on the sponsee thing. I now sponsor a guy.
Yeah.
And speaking on humiliation and being scared to ask somebody to be your sponsor, it is for your sponsor, I think it's more rewarding than it is for the sponsee in a way. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, my sponsee helps me more than I could ever help him.
Yeah.
So I don't know if anybody out there is scared to ask a sponsor for some help or to ask somebody to be their sponsor. Just do it.
Just do it. Yeah. It really. I mean, there's not too many people that say no.
No.
And yeah, I mean, we can talk about it in a different episode, but I think you went a year or so without sponsoring guys. Like,
oh yeah.
You can't keep. You have to give away.
Yeah.
You have to give away to keep it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many topics. Like even how to sponsor somebody.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's a right or wrong way to sponsor.
Yeah.
Remember that you got me with that trick that one time? Like, did you buy that book, How to Sponsor Somebody?
Oh,
or
yeah.
something?
You're like, hey man, I said the same thing to my sponsor. I'm like, I'm not ready to sponsor. Like,
yeah.
I'm already through the 12 steps. He's like, no, you're ready. You're ready. And so I tell guys now, because so I was scared, or I'm like, how am I going to help somebody else get sober? And I'm really just, like I said, experience, strength, and hope.
Yeah.
And he said, just do it. And so.
Just do it.
Yeah. This is my watch. It says now. That's it.
No.
Now.
The time is now.
That's the time I have all the time. It's all about awareness, you know.
Absolutely.
But yeah. So, in regards to being a sponsor, it really is a great gift. But it takes a while. But yeah, I would say, my sponsors would be through the 12-step, and I'm like, you can go on Amazon, right, and you can buy this book about how to be a great sponsor. And it's written by this book. This author does not exist. This book does not exist.
Yeah, I believed you. I was like,
I think you had a pen. You were starting to write it down, man.
Anyways, well, man, we've gone through, kind of why we started Power Greater Than You. We've talked a little bit about our backstories, our relationship. What can the people, I guess, kind of expect moving forward from us?
Well, the cool thing about it is you guys won't just be watching me and Sean. We're going to have guests.
Yeah, we're boring.
We're going to have some guests talking about their sobriety, their recovery. We're going to do topics. We're going to ask even the listeners or the viewers to DM us on topics. Yeah,
social platforms. Make sure you guys hit us up in the comments. Send us a DM.
Yeah.
Any topics, any questions. I mean, if you need help, hit us up for sure. And I think we know enough people to help somebody. We can make it.
I always say help is on the way.
Help is on the way.
You got to ask for it.
Absolutely.
And when I hear that help is on the way, like even when I say it to myself, it's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not doing this alone anymore.
Right. And I think that, I guess as we kind of close this thing out, maybe you're not alone, regardless. You know what I mean? Even in addiction, I wasn't alone. I was sitting in a motel room myself, but there was somebody watching over me. I've thought about it 1,000 times why I'm not dead or in jail.
Yeah.
And it's literally the only answer is God, higher power. There's only reason why I am still here today.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. And, the second step is, finding a power greater than yourself to restore you to sanity. Mm-hmm. And the principle behind that step is hope.
Right.
So all of a sudden, like I don't have to figure out how to figure this out. And I don't even know what sanity is. I could say restore me to clarity, but yeah, I mean, a higher power is the solution. All those books they talk about, the only purpose of the book is to find a power greater than yourself that will protect you from you or protect me from me. And, but listen, here's the deal. My ego will squash that throughout the day. Mm-hmm. So that's why I have to go to meetings. That's why I have to watch podcasts and read, recovery books and literature and things like that, because I forget like in a second.
Literally like that.
My disease wants me to forget.
Yeah, I literally read the Daily Reflection this morning and then got pissed off 2 seconds later. You know what I mean? It just happens.
Yeah.
But, we are constantly in this and we're in this together and that's a good feeling.
It's a great feeling, man.
Yeah, so I guess I think we got a topic for episode 2, maybe a little bit of hope.
Hope.
A little bit of hope. Maybe
yes.
we spin off hope, but hope I feel like is a good general topic, especially in early sobriety.
For sure. I have a tattoo on my arm that says hope. And when I was drinking and drugging, it still said hope. Now I get it. I get it.
Absolutely. Well, it's been a pleasure today. I'm excited for our journey that we're starting. And I'm excited for people to follow and help us as we continue to chase and, I guess, grow after something that is greater than us.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and building upon it. So, if you're in addiction right now, reach out to us. We've been there. We've been there. And now we've been in recovery and we can help you in both.
Absolutely.
So hopefully you'll tune in next time.
Absolutely will. Make sure y'all follow us on socials or reach out to us there at Power Greater Than You across all platforms. Website will be coming later down the line. We're working on that. Full episodes will be on YouTube. We're working on that. Excited, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Absolutely.
Welcome to a Power Greater Than You.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning into Power Greater Than You. Your support is helping all of us grow closer to a power greater than ourselves. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction, don't hesitate to reach out. Help is on the way. Together, we're all getting closer to a power greater than ourselves, one step at a time.